Hey guys, today we're going to do a quick video on interview secrets to help you land a medical sales job. I know a lot of you guys are out there that you're getting a ton of interviews, but you're just not landing and getting any offers. So here's a couple of things that I do, and I did in my past and teach any of my clients to really stand out in the interview process. But before we move forward, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button on the right-hand corner. So when it comes to interviewing, you want to make sure that you start working the day, actually the minute that you get booked for an interview. So if a recruiter calls you up or a human resource person reaches out and says, hey, we have an interview scheduled with XYZ company next week, you start working that moment to get ahead. Because right now on average, I get between 300 to 400 resumes per opening that I have. So you got to realize out of those 300-400, there's obviously a lot of candidates that are not qualified, but there's a ton in there that are going to be qualified. So you're going to be going against legitimately, anywhere from 50 to 60 candidates that really could do a good job in this role. So you really want to make sure that you're standing out from the moment you get notified about that interview. First thing that I do when I get an interview, and what always helped me in the past is you want to make sure that you are reaching out to the reps that work for that hiring manager. So once you search that hiring manager on LinkedIn, get to learn his or her background, get to see, anywhere their experiences, the school they went to, and also who else they're connected to, because you might have a mutual connection that could be helpful to talk about in the interview, because that manager can reach out to that individual because they could be good friends with them and they could give you a good word, which goes a lot further than the generic professional references that you're going to give if offered the job. So first thing you do, look up that manager. Second thing, this is one of the most important things, is reaching out to all the reps that work for that manager and having conversations with them. So you want to make sure that you're discussing with them what the key drivers are for that manager. You want to know, what that person likes, what they dislike, what did they do in the interview? Because they could have been in your shoes only a couple months ago. You never know. And what did they do to stand out in the interview? Because they can have a lot of great tips. And these can range, from different, they could be different for every interview because every manager is different. So you want to have those conversations with them. You also want to find out what they know about the role and what the expectations are. If there's anything that they did in the interview to stand out, like for instance, if they created a very unique 30-60-90, not the generic 30-60-90s that we all see where reps just throw in front of managers and more often than not they get tossed to the side. Is there something more in depth that they did to learn about the actual territory? Because these hiring managers, they want to know, what did you do to prepare for this interview? And if you could talk about all the people you spoke with, and then put a presentation together that's specific for that role, that goes a long, long way. And these managers will be impressed because not everyone's doing it. They might reach out to one or two people, they don't hear back from them, and then that's it, they give up. You want to make sure that you set a goal to have at least 3 conversations with reps before the interview. And when you're reaching out to these reps, don't ask them for a half hour of their time. That's a turn off for reps. Be very specific that you're interviewing with the manager on whatever day. You really would love to pick their brain, just only need a couple minutes of their time. Because you might be on the phone with them for more than a half hour, but if you set the stage, asking for that amount of time, they might not respond because that's too much to give up. But when they start speaking to you, they might get into, the conversation deeper and deeper, like speaking with you, and it go much longer. So always just ask for a couple minutes. The other important tip is no one ever does this. Everyone says a thank you email after the interview. Let that manager know that you're coming. Thank him or her for their time before the interview. So send an email, a couple days before, a day before, looking forward to meeting with you tomorrow at whatever time. I'm very excited for the opportunity to learn more about you, the company, and the role. And that can go a long way because the whole point is you want to stand out. So if you do that, combined with speaking to the reps, learning about the key drivers of that manager and then letting them know what you did to prepare. You know, you're going to stand out from the rest of the reps because a lot of reps, they don't put in the time that's needed for each of these roles and think that just because they have a great background and they have great experiences and a great resume, that that's going to give them the opportunity. And you have to understand that it's that competitive right now where you're going against hundreds of other candidates. So you have to always assume, what is my competition doing? You know, and that's the way I always worked, is that I always thought my competition was going to outwork me and go the next step. So that made me always go take everything to the next level so I can stand out the best I can. Definitely give these couple of different strategies a chance, and feel free to reach out to me anytime for more tips so we can discuss helping you break into the field or land your next medical sales job.